Hello everyone. I am Mr.V.V.Ambade from Mechanical Engineering Department, Tulsiramji Gaikwad Patil College of Engineering. And today we'll see or we'll discuss the subject about the advanced production process, or we can say that advanced manufacturing techniques. In that subject, we'll discuss the unit number 1, that is introduction of non-conventional machining processes. So what is non-conventional machining processes? In this lecture, we'll discuss the non-conventional machining processes, introduction and classification, its advantages, disadvantages. Let's discuss. So, as you can see in the figure, there is a difference between production, manufacturing, and machining. So, what is production? What is manufacturing? And what is machining? The total production process is divided into three, that is production, manufacturing, and machining. So you can see in the figure, the production is the combination of all the processes which include manufacturing, that is casting, joining, powder metallurgy, and forming. And machining involves four processes, that is turning, milling, drilling, and grinding. So combination of all these manufacturing as well as the machining process, that is casting, joining, powder metallurgy, forming, and turning, milling, drilling, and grinding, which makes the whole production process. And what is manufacturing? Manufacturing involves only four processes, that is casting, joining, powder metallurgy, and forming. And what is machining? Machining again involves the four processes, that is turning, milling, drilling, and grinding. So let us discuss one by one. What is production? Production is the system that converts raw material or scrap to useful product by adding substantial values. So production is nothing but the conversion of raw material into final finished products by doing some useful processes on the raw material. This system is usually a closed loop that starts with the market survey and forecasting and ends with the feedback collection and its analysis. So what is production? Production will start from the collect getting the raw material and convert this raw material into final finished product by applying some processes is called as production process. And this production is a closed loop system which starts with the market survey. Market survey means to survey the market, what raw material is to be needed, what process to be needed, and end with the feedback and its analysis. There are various steps which are executed most of the time instead of doing separately. For example, market survey, forecasting, planning and sequencing, purchasing of the raw material, conversion of conversion or manufacturing, storing and maintaining, inspection and quality control, packaging and delivery, feedback, collection and analysis. So all these involved in the production process. Now, concept of manufacturing. Manufacturing is basically a subset or part of the production. So as already told that the manufacturing is a part of the production process. It basically refers to a group of process that actually converts raw material or scrap to useful product as per the requirement. So in the manufacturing, what we are doing? We are actually converting the raw material into final finished products as per our requirement or as per our requirement of the customer. Although it directly takes only tangential type of input such as man, machine, material and money. So all these parameters are needed for the manufacturing of any component. So manufacturing steps may consist of various processes such as casting, forming, joining, machining, advanced machining processes, powder metallurgy, surface working and coating, and rapid prototyping. So these all are involved in manufacturing process. Next is what is machining. So machining is one of the secondary manufacturing process by which excess material is removed. What we are doing in the machining process, we are removing the excess amount of material present on the workpiece by applying some machining processes. So example of the machining is turning, drilling, facing, slotting and milling. These are some various examples of machining processes. Next is the requirement that leads to the development of non-conventional machining. What are the various requirements that require to develop a non-traditional machining process, or we can say that non-conventional machining process? First one is very high hardness and strength of the material. If we want to remove the very high hard material whose strength is above the 400 HB number, so in this case we need the non-conventional machining process. Next is the workpiece is too flexible or slender to support the cutting or grinding force. The shape of the part is so complex, such as internal and external profile or small diameter holes. If we want to remove the material or we want to cut the material from the very complex component or from the internal and external profile of very small diameter hole, in that case we need the non-conventional type of machining process. Next, the surface finish or tolerance better than those obtainable conventional processes. If we want high or very good type of surface finish, or we need a good tolerance, in that case we use the non-conventional type of machining process. The temperature rise or residual stress in the workpiece are undesirable. So these are some requirement to development of non-conventional machining process. Next is the difference between conventional machining and non-conventional machining process. So what are the various difference between the conventional as well as non-conventional machining process? So in the case of conventional machining process, direct contact of tool and workpiece are there. But in case of non-conventional type of machining process, tools are non-conventional technique like laser beam or electric arc. So in this case, there is no direct contact of the tool with the workpiece. But in case of conventional type of process, tool comes in direct contact with the workpiece. In the case of conventional type of machining process, cutting tool is always harder than the workpiece. But in case of non-conventional, tool may be harder and it may not be physical presence. Next is tool life is less due to high wear. Why? Tool life is less because tool is comes in directly contact with the workpiece. In case of non-conventional, tool life is more. Why? Because there is either no tool is required, or if the tool is required but there is no contact between the tool and the workpiece. Hence, the tool life is more in case of non-conventional machining process. Next, generally macroscopic chip is formed in the conventional type of process, and material remove occurs with or without chip formation. In case of non-conventional machining process, very small chips is formed. Next point is material removal takes place due to application of the cutting force. As already said, there is directly contact between the workpiece and the tool. Therefore, the material removal processes takes place due to the application of the force. But in case of non-conventional machining process, it uses different energy like electrical energy, thermochemical energy, or mechanical energy to remove the material from the workpiece. Conventional type of machining process is suitable for all type of material, whereas non-conventional machining process is not suitable for all type of material. It cannot be produced, it cannot be used to make a prototype part very effectively, but conventional type of machining process can be used to produce the prototype parts very effectively. Now, these are some classification of the process, how we can classify the different machining process. The first part of classification of the process is mechanical type of metal removal process. So it is characterized by the fact that the material removed is due to the application of mechanical energy in the form of high frequency vibration or kinetic energy of an abrasive jet. So these are sub parts of the mechanical type of material removing process. That is, first is ultrasonic machining. In short, we can say that USM. Second one is abrasive jet machining. In short, we can say that AJM. Third one is water jet machining, in short WJM. So what is mechanical metal removal process? In this process, we are using the mechanical type of energy to remove the material from the workpiece, or we are using the vibration or kinetic energy of an abrasive jet. Therefore, this process is called as mechanical type of material remove process. Next is next category is electrochemical. In this process, what we are doing, we are using the electrical energy or chemical energy, combination of electrical as well as the chemical energy. Therefore, this process is called as electrochemical energy, electrochemical machining process. It is based on electrochemical dissolution of the material by an electrolyte under the influence of externally applied electrical potential. In this process, what we are doing, we are providing the chemical as well as the electrical energy. So subcategories of electrochemical machining processes: electrochemical machining, in short we can say that ECM, electrochemical grinding ECG, and electrochemical deburring ECD. Next category is thermal method. In this method, we are using the thermal energy. The material is removed due to controlled localized heating of the workpiece. It results into material removal by melting and evaporation. When we supply the heat energy to the workpiece or tool, the workpiece get dissolved or vaporized or melt. The sources of heat generation in such cases can be widely different. The subcategories of thermal material removing processes: electro discharge machining, that is EDM, plasma arc machining, that is PAM, electro beam machinings, that is EBM, and laser beam machinings, that is LBM. So these are some subcategories of thermal metal removing processes. So thank you very much. This is all for today's.